Unemployed and Afraid acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this episode on and of the land where you, the listener, are tuning in from. We would like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and extend our respect to any First Nations, Aboriginal, and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today, acknowledging that this always was and always will be Aboriginal land.
Welcome to Unemployed and Afraid, a podcast that explores the glorious mess of building brands, businesses, and a career you love with the people who've done it. I'm your host, Kim Curtin. Thank you for being here. Let's get into today's story of starting over. Welcome to the Social Stories episode, where each week our community of business builders share the stories of key moments and evolutions within their own business building journey. I am coming to you from my recording location, which happens to have my glorious little dog asleep on the floor next to me because I didn't have the heart to move her. So let's hope we can get through this episode without her causing chaos. So let's get straight into what is this week's question. It is all about our lessons. The hard lessons we've learned and grown from, shared with you to help you learn and grow too. I asked the community on the socials, so on IG, what has been your hardest lesson while building your business? And now another reason I probably have my glorious dog here keeping me company is because before I hit record for this episode, I had a very random full body uncontrollable cry sesh, or more like a cry explosion, if that makes sense. You see, I'm right alongside you trying to build a business. This podcast is my business. It allows me to serve you and support you, but I'm also trying to get paid for doing it through brand partnerships and other opportunities in podcasting so that I can keep it going and growing for you. And every day I feel overwhelmed and frustrated and like I'm not doing enough to get there, and there's just too many blocks in my way. Sometimes I get so mad, caught up in comparisonitis at the growth I'm seeing in others while my own business feels like it's not growing fast enough. It's just quite overwhelming. And sometimes I feel like you just hit your wall and you've got to have a good cry for no apparent reason. There's nothing crazy going on. I just felt like it was a full-on cry explosion. And all of this is happening while I have a looming second business on the horizon that I also want to achieve at. So that feeling of overwhelm, that feeling of, oh my God, what am I doing? What do I do now? Do I even know what I'm doing? You're writing lists, you're trying to get through stuff. You don't even know if the stuff you're writing on the list is the stuff you should be focusing on. This is all just to say that I am right here with you on this and feeling like a failure all the time. I mean, that's just been my hardest lesson that I'm still learning. And part of that is trying to learn to stop looking at other people's growth in comparison to my own, because it can become really toxic, like toxic comparison disguised as learning or seeking inspo or the other things that I do for myself while I'm on the deep scroll or the deep research or Google. It means that I'm losing awareness of what it is that I need to do in the moment. So that's what I want to share with you to get this episode started. My biggest and hardest lesson at the moment, and God, I feel better for sharing it. So thank you for listening. All of the shares from the socials today pack a massive inspo punch. They did for me, and I know they will for you too. So to kick us off with our social sharing, here is Patrick Twells from Nomad Designs, who do web development, digi-performance, and so much more.
Hey Kim, it's Patrick. I'm at the airport, well, Melbourne airport actually, on my way back to Perth. Down a quiet-ish little corner, so it's all right. For me, the lesson that I learned took 14 years and wasn't even the lesson I thought I was learning. So I started a business in 2006, regional town in WA. I figured, small business, don't have much money. So I guess my business model was to provide cheap, affordable digital marketing website services to these businesses. The problem with that is that it was unsustainable, and I ended up burning out over that. The lesson that I guess I was told from a lot of people, family, friends, including a business coach as well, was you need to charge more, you need to raise your prices and charge more. Now that's easier said than done, because as a small business, you've got bills to pay. And unfortunately, when you raise your prices, you run the risk of people saying no. And that's a hard thing to actually take, because you need a job. And so I found myself, doing discounts, doing like whatever I could to actually get the job so that I could pay the bills. And this whole concept of charge more was just a little tricky to actually put into practice. 14 years after starting business, though, I was at a point where I was completely run down, where I had no clue what to do. Whatever I was doing wasn't working. It was a hard lesson. It was literally, there wasn't enough money coming in there, even though I had a lot of clients. And so it was like, clearly I can't do this. What should I do instead? At that point, I started speaking to a mentor in Perth, Jeremy Watkins, who was the first person, like, in one meeting with him. It was the first person that actually genuinely believed in me and my knowledge and my understanding. And that the question really, that sort of, I don't know, it's not even a question, I guess, but I came away from that meeting just feeling quite undone, to be honest, because he was someone that says, well, you've got X amount of years of experience, you know what you're doing, you know all this kind of stuff. Like, what's stopping you from charging more? And as time sort of progressed, when you have people who believe in you, when you have people who actually, genuinely believe that what you do and what you know is actually worth something, it starts to build a bit of value inside yourself. And as that value increases inside yourself, and you're like, I do know something. I haven't done all this stuff in vain. I haven't done all this stuff just because. Like, I'm passionate about it. I love it, and I'm good at it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. And at that point, when you start to realize your own value, then you start to sort of go, I should be charging more for this. And it's not the idea of, the lesson is not the idea of I should charge more, I need to charge more just because. The lesson really is that I'm actually worth this. I'm worth this. And when you go into meetings to actually sell what you do, you are selling then with conviction because you believe it. And I tell you what, you sell with conviction and you will sell ice to Eskimos. You will sell, tea to Chinamen, as in, when you sell with conviction, there's no stopping you. So I think, sure, you have to raise prices, you have to charge what you're worth. But that's the lesson that sort of everyone sort of comes up with and thinks about. But really the lesson to me is that you're worth it. You're valued, you're worth it. You've done all this work, you've done all the groundwork. Believe in yourself. And as a byproduct of that, you'll start charging more because you know that actually you can't deliver the service or quality you want to deliver if you charge less. So for me, that's been a very freeing thing. It's been entirely freeing to go into a meeting and they look at you and go, oh, that's so expensive. Oh, that's cool. If that's not your thing, that's not your thing. We can't actually deliver that for less than that price at that quality. So there's other places you can go. Or if you want that quality, then hey, totally up for helping you out to do that. So it's a freeing thing, and it's amazing how many people actually say yes, even the people you think don't have money, or the people you think are small business or whatever. When you believe in yourself, it's amazing what can happen.
There is just so much self-value and knowledge value I feel like we attach to how we price and how we charge, and that evolution is such a growth experience, and there is no time limit on these things. I think we just learned that from Patrick, and just so much more from that amazing share. What an incredible and yes, very hard lesson to go through. Hopefully you got something from that helps you on your own journey. Our next share is the amazing sister duo Gao and Mayan from Smoozative.
Hey Kim, one of the hard lessons that we had to learn while building our business is who to talk to and who to take advices from. It's very easy to share what you're going through in your business and your ups and your downs with everyone around you, but then you get usually validation for what you're afraid of or what you're questioning yourself from. And it's not that people don't care about your success, it's that they bring their own perspective and their own fears, and sometimes it's really not helping you. So we had to stop talking to certain people, minimize the connection about certain subjects, and really be wise about that and who we take advices from, that really helps us and really empower us and not make us doubt ourselves.
Oh, I just love this one. We really all do want to feel connected on this journey and chat to as many people as we can. But with as many people as you're chatting to, you're getting that many opinions, and it's terrible English in my sentence, but I think you know what I mean, is that the more people you ask, the more opinions you get. And sometimes it can take you further and further away from what it is that you know innately that you need to do. And you're just working your way towards there. It really taps into my own feeling of comparisonitis, it's kind of disguised as seeking inspo or learning about things that I need to be doing in business. And yeah, I really feel that one. And let's hear from Emily from Hazel Clean. I love this submission. This is a great thing about voice notes, guys. You can submit this from anywhere at any time. It doesn't need to be a big thing. It's about just sharing bite-sized content wherever you can, whenever you can. And I love this share from Emily.
Hey Kim, I've just woken up, so my voice note's going to sound quite funny if this ends up on the podcast. I love this question, and my answer to the hardest lessons that I've learned in business would be to grow a thicker skin. And it took me, so this is my third year in business, it took me nearly 3 years to grow a thicker skin, and I mean that in every aspect of business, from client feedback to money not being paid on time to your employees, if you have employees. That was a very big lesson learnt there. You cannot save and you cannot get too personally invested in your employees to a certain degree, because you can't save them from their personal lives, because all of the things encompassing business that you go through, the highs and the lows, you have to have a certain level that you stay on so that you can keep going. Because if you take the highs too high and the lows too low, it becomes a detriment to your own mental health in small business, because at the end of the day, that small business is you. And if you keep letting it affect you so much, then you absolutely burn out, which I experienced last year. And coming back from that, you either have two choices when you hit rock bottom. You either stop, and I definitely don't say this as giving up, but you either stop to save yourself, or you grow that thicker skin and you put your business pants on and you carry on and you change a lot, and you make the decisions that are business based, not personal based anymore. Yeah, that would be my hardest lesson over the last few years, and in business is growing a thicker skin, for sure.
At the end of the day, that small business is you. I feel that so deeply. And I also really feel what Emily says around building a little bit of a protective layer around yourself, because this stuff is really hard. And likely, if we knew how hard it was going to be, some days we might not ever get started. But we know that the rewards and the growth that we experience, not just financially, not just in successful business, but in personal growth, is so, so worth it. I'm finishing this episode with Naomi Sherman, who every time I see her pop up into my DMs or just see a post of hers, she brings a smile to my face, because she's real and she's also incredibly talented. But here is Naomi Sherman with her hardest lesson.
Hey, lovely. It's Naomi again. I'm just going to call in every week. The hardest lesson that I've learned in business is that you never feel like it's enough. You never feel like you've made it and you've reached that perfect point where you can just pat yourself on the back. You're either worried that you've got no work on, or you're worried that you've got so much work on, how are you going to do it all and meet your deadlines? You're worried how you're going to pay your bills. You're worried that now you've just taken on all this work, you're going to have so much earnings coming in that you're going to have to pay more taxes. You're worried that you're not marketing yourself enough. You're worrying that you're marketing yourself too much. It never ends. There is never a moment where you can just relax and go, yes, I've made it and life is wonderful, fa la la. But you know what? Learning that lesson is hard, but the best thing I ever did, because now I know that we're all in that boat. Everybody is in that boat. So relax and enjoy the ride.
I was so tempted to play my voice return note to Naomi, because basically I just said, holy shit, that's exactly what I need to hear while I'm over here doubting myself, feeling overwhelmed, not sure what to do first, how to do it, all of the things. And I just, yes, enjoying the ride. That's what we're all here for. We're all going through it. And that is the exact purpose of this story, giving you a place to hear the stories of others, to share your own story, to find your community, to keep growing and going with your business building, no matter what stage you're at. We all need to feel a little bit more seen. So if we're in business, we're facing hard lessons. They're hard to share with others sometimes who aren't actually in this game. And that's what we're here for, peeling back the layers behind the scenes, not the glamorized part of building a business, because really, is there any part like that? But something that other business builders can take along the journey as guiding posts. And that statement is actually something that a wonderful connection on LinkedIn said to me. And I think it's, again, the perfect summary of why Unemployed and Afraid exists. I hope you found today's social stories helpful for your own business building. Make sure that you're following Unemployed and Afraid on Instagram and be part of the show by submitting your own story, which is so valuable to others and such an incredible gift to share. Also, make sure you go find our Facebook group. There's just click the join button and we're in there having chats, building that community. So request to join. There's going to be even more conversation on these layers happening over there. We've gotten through the episode without a woof, but I can tell you there is a very loud snore going on by my feet. So if you hear that, well, that's what it is. Thank you for being here with me today, and I'll see you on the socials. Thank you for listening to Unemployed and Afraid, the stories of starting over with your host, me, Kim Curtin. If you love it, you can say thanks with a star rating and a review, and of course, join the community on Instagram and LinkedIn. Find us at Unemployed and Afraid. See you there.